right, welcome. I'm Gretchen O'Hara, Vice President of AI and Sustainability here at Microsoft, and I am so pleased to share today a conversation with George Savvakas, CEO and founder of IdeaGen Global, where we are creating partnerships for global change. Welcome, George.
Thank you so much, Gretchen. It's such an honor to be here with you today, as always. As always, we begin with why IdeaGen and how did we get here. It really begins with the 17 global goals of the United Nations that were unanimously agreed to by all 193 member states to agree on these 17 goals in a way that will help move the world forward to address the world's most vexing issues by 2030. And that's the mission of IdeaGen, to connect those dots and build trust with companies, NGOs, and the public sector to change the world.
It's an incredible mission, and I think we've had a chance. I was introduced to IdeaGen, 4 some odd years ago and counting. And the minute I heard this mission and the global leaders convening around what we're trying to do around UN's SDG goals, you had me at hello. And I feel like we've been on this partnership ever since. It's been really, really exciting, and I'm excited to go a little bit deeper on here. What makes IdeaGen so unique? From your perspective?
Well, interesting, and I'm glad you asked that question. And it's a profound question. It seems simple, but it's profound. It's profound because what we do is so unique in terms of bringing together individuals and organizations from across sectors. And this cross-sector approach is unique because you bring different disciplines, different companies, different NGOs, the public sector, and these different vantage points that typically speak a different language, quite literally. And by the time we convene and we conclude at the UN or here today at the NASDAQ, you speak the same language, which is so powerful.
I love that. And I think the opportunity to bring everyone together around these global partnerships on that common narrative and the common language is so key. Talk a little bit for the audience here about your journey. What were some of the defining moments through the establishment of IdeaGen and where you are today?
Another great question. It's a great question because it started with giants. And these giants include former Congressman Louis Stokes. Louis Stokes, who spent 30 years in the United States Congress, who was in the room when we created IdeaGen. And Congressman Stokes was not only a leader, but he was a mentor and one of the greatest human beings I personally and professionally have ever met. And he helped us create the notion of bringing folks together, the importance of cross-sector, and ultimately defining the trust that comes out of convening from across sectors to create partnerships to change the world.
Amazing. Well, now we're here, 4+ many years later actually, and very exciting news today on some of the things that we're doing around global partnerships. But talk about the concept around the creation of the IdeaGen City and Country Chair model that we recently kicked off.
Another great question. Another great question. The IdeaGen Acceleration Council and Accelerate are so incredibly important to bring that proximity to the local level in countries and cities across the world to change the world, to be able to source content and bring together leaders from across sectors again, but at the local level to help solve these issues. So many issues that Microsoft, for example, is addressing.
I love that. I think, when we talk about the things that we're working on from a global partnership perspective, to be able to drive that proximity and creating action from the words and the mission that we're doing, I think is incredible. And to institutionalize that in this new model, really, really exciting. So what's ahead, George? What's the vision as you head into 2030 for IdeaGen?
Well, so not so long ago, we were looking at the runway. The runway to 2030, we were at January 2020, and we had a decade to 2030. And between then and now even, we've seen so much global change. We've seen an incredible highlight of inequalities across the world, while at the same time, we've seen an incredible acceleration in terms of digital, in terms of cloud, in terms of AI, and in terms of all the things that you specifically are working on, Gretchen, which are incredibly exciting for us to help to bring forth through these global partnerships.
It's really nice to see the prioritization and the vision of IdeaGen, powered, quite frankly, by the innovation and cloud capabilities that we just talked about, really accelerating the opportunities for 2030. Now, how can people learn more? Give us a roadmap on what people can do next. How do they get involved in the UN Sustainable Development Goals?
So the notion of one person changing the world, you could say the words in the names Malala. You could say Mandela. You could say Louis Stokes. And you instantly know that one person can change the world. And so for IdeaGen to bring together these companies, these organizations from across sectors, and then together with that, with a proximity with Accelerate across the world, to be able to bring people together, individuals, to get involved, simply by going to ideagenglobal.com.
George, thank you so much for sharing that. Very exciting about the next step in this journey for IdeaGen Global. Thank you so much for sharing that with us today, and we really, really appreciate the partnership.
We do as well. We're honored. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.